Hi, my name's Mark, and you have clicked on this video because 1. You're looking for a car that's fun to drive, but also has a bit of a green element about it. 2. You're looking for an affordable used car that has good looks, but that also can carry people, like kids and at least 5 adults. Or 3, you want a car that has it all. And I'm here to tell you that the 2017 Mazda 6 is one of those cars. It has it all. This car really surprised me because I needed something that was sporty, fun to drive, but also practical. And I really wanted a Camaro. But let's face it, the Camaro has no back seats. Otherwise, it's not a bad car for a daily driver. But this one does have good back seats. They're heated as well. And it does it all. Plus, it has a mild hybrid system. What? I know. Trust me, it does. And I'll tell you all about that, so stay tuned. So let's talk looks. Just look at that front end. It is both sensual and angry at the same time. It's almost a scowl. Note on the Grand Touring model, you get the black background lights and special cornering lights that change when you turn into a corner. That's only on the Grand Touring, plus LED driving. The rear also looks quite sexy in my opinion. You have the integrated spoiler and a nice clean look, very typical of the sedans that we tend to love in the United States. Now moving inside, you are bathed in sumptuous Napa leather. In this particular case, I went with the beautiful off-white leather, and there's front and rear heated seats, and the fit is wonderful. It just feels so nice. That trim extends to the door sills and the dash as well. And again, you'll find the interior very comfy, complete with a leather steering wheel mounted controls. Speaking of which, everything is on your steering wheel, including your radar cruise adjustment, as well as your ability to change the information display, as I'm doing there. It shows the doors open, and then that is the IE loop display, which I'll explain more about in just a second. Also on there, you have a full menu, and in this case, this car comes with full navigation. The in-car navigation, I know we don't use it very much these days, but it is really beautiful and it's worth using from time to time just for the beauty of it. This car does also do Android and CarPlay, but for 2017, you have to have it installed retroactively. A lot of people don't mention that, but yes, you can install CarPlay retroactively. Now back to the IE loop system. This is a regenerative braking system. And not a lot of people talk about this, but basically it puts power into a capacitor and it powers the electronics and it gives you a 5 to 10% better fuel economy. It's fantastic. That's the mild hybrid system I was talking about. On the right, you can see I'm changing the screens. You can go to your trip. That's the lane keep assist. It's a wonderful extra tool. You have the auto dimming mirror, LED interior lights, in this case, a beautiful sunroof, which I absolutely adore. And then here are the lights when they're turned on. Notice they're LED headlights as well, with an LED daytime running light. And in this particular case, the Grand Touring has that nice side marker light. Now remember I said this car is great for tall people, so here I am entering the vehicle. And notice where my legs are. I am 6'4", and I can straighten my left leg completely, watch. Completely when I take it off the foot pedal there. It is so cozy. The steering wheel also telescopes, so you can find that perfect driving position. It's one of the best fitting cars I've ever driven. Beautiful stock wheels. I have no desire to change these wheels. They're perfect. This car sits very low. It's very sporty. Again, I am 6'4", so this is me standing in front of the car. You can see how low it is. Just barely hits me at chest level. So nice and sporty, low car. There are times when it's a little hard to get into, but whatever. That's the price you pay. So in general, the thing I wanted to also mention is the heads-up display. You can just barely see it here, but it is the neatest thing ever. And when you're navigating, everything is there. You really can't go wrong. It is the coolest thing. Okay. So we are on the road, and of course, as I mentioned before, this car is about driving, and I want you to listen to the acceleration, see if you can hear it. By the way, what's talking to me?
Reduce your speed.
If you hear that, that's the car's inbuilt GPS navigation system warning me of speed cameras.
Reduce your speed.
For those that come with navigation, you can set it to have it alert you every time you come near a traffic camera or a speed camera. That's the car's system. That's not the CarPlay. It's not the Android Auto. That's from the Mazda itself. Really cool feature. I don't know that many cars that actually do that. Of course, you can turn it off if it annoys you. You can ramp up the safety systems on this car to go crazy and literally vibrate and alert and self-correct as much as you want, or you can have it be as little as you want. So it's really up to you, and that's the nice thing about it. So when I'm doing a typical turn like here, I can keep both hands on the wheel, do kind of like an F1 turn, and listen to the acceleration. Hopefully you can hear that. It's very nice, very sporty, but not intrusive, and it's not obnoxious, because I can't stand those obnoxious exhaust or things that are just too noisy, and it has a really good sound to it. But when you are in the cruise mode, you can have it on normal driving mode. It is so comfortable, and you just float along. Now, granted, the ride is more harsh than, say, like a luxury E-Class with tires that don't have a narrow sidewall. These have 19-inch wheels, so they're going to ride a little bit harsher, so you feel the road. But to me, it's the perfect balance, because the car itself is very smooth and it feels sporty to me. But when I feel like just cruising on the highway, it's not harsh. Think of if you've ever driven a car with run flat tires or a really pure sports car, then you know that the ride can be quite harsh, which is usually what we want. But in an everyday daily driver sedan like this one, you want a balance, and I think Mazda has hit it on the nose, quite frankly. So again, the number one greatest thing about this car to me is how it drives, how it handles, how it feels. That's actually 3 things. Okay, so number 3 greatest things. But it is truly remarkable. And I've owned a 6 in the past, a 2004 Mazda 6, and a 3. I'm not like Mr. Monster or anything, but they've all been really good and very sporty. But this one takes the cake. I love the styling. It is so beautiful and so elegant. I personally think it's the most beautiful mid-size sedan on the road. You probably know my favorite full-size, the Chrysler 300. But this one to me just takes every prize. And the great thing with the heads-up display, when you use the car's in-navigation system, then it comes into your heads-up display. So you have a really cool display right in front of you. And then also the lane assist, it warns you. This one has the speed limit indicator, so you know how fast you can drive. And like I mentioned before, for tall people, it fits me beautifully. And I can't say that about many cars. In fact, I have to buy my car first around how it fits. There are just certain cars I can never own. And this particular one I do own. The Mazda 6 is really good for tall drivers, has lots of legroom, one of the best in its class when you check the stats online. Excellent headroom, and I have the sunroof, so I still have lots of headroom. And overall, it fits tall people really, really well. So if I had any complaints, it would be only a few. One, the steering wheel, even though it's leather, it's a little too thin for my tastes. I prefer a thicker wheel. Granted, I have larger hands, so that's part of it. If you have normal or smaller hands, you probably won't even notice. But I do like the feel of a thicker wheel. Of course, there's a million options that you can do to make it thicker if you want. And right now I'm on kind of broken pavement or harsher pavement, so the road noise does intrude ever so slightly. But again, it's not that bad. But if you want a quiet cruiser to waft over potholes and such, this is not the car. This is a car designed for drivers, of which I am one. So I do recommend it for those who love to drive. But again, that plus the looks, you can't beat it. Now, you may be thinking, Mark, why don't you just go for the BMW 3 Series or an M or something? Sure, I considered that, but you know, where I live in the Maryland area near Washington, D.C., they're a dime a dozen. You know, nothing against the brand, but they're just a dime a dozen. Same with the Merc C and E classes. Great cars, but I wanted something a little different that stands out. Plus, I really wanted a hybrid. Now, granted, this is not a pure hybrid, but with that IE loop system, you save so much. On the highway, if I'm doing a road trip, I get over 500 miles to the gallon. And I'll put the kilometer translation up here in a moment. On just a 15.8 gallon tank. That's incredible. That's incredible. In the city, I regularly get 450 miles with city driving because of that IE loop system. What other car can do that? Seriously. Now, when it comes to changes to this particular car, I did add an axle back exhaust system by Racing Beat. They make it especially for this model year of Mazda, and it adds only a slightly higher or louder note, but it's definitely integrated with the car's karma. It's nothing like a tacky, gross huffy puffy muffler that sometimes people tack on their Honda Civics or whatever. It's a beautiful axle back system. So it's basically just a muffler and exhaust tips. I feel like the exhaust tips on the stock ones are a little too small for my taste. So these are nice and big. It gives a nice deeper throaty note, but nothing obnoxious. And incredibly, I'm noticing roughly between 2 and 3% better gas mileage with it as well. So it's less restrictive. So that's something you might consider. Otherwise, I didn't do a whole lot with this car. I just tinted the windows, and I put a small tint on the one section of the back light, which I felt looked kind of, I don't know, wonky. These are just nitpicky things that I like to do. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and more on the way. Take care.